Well, surprisingly, we're going to show today exactly the same thing that we showed last Tuesday.
Oh, dear.
The old footage from the Heber Creeper for this TV show I did back in 1990 called Ghost Trains of the Old West. But a lot of people said, gee, that asks more questions than it answered.
Oh, dear.
And just exactly what is going on there? And so I thought, we'll show the same footage. This is the Heber footage from Ghost Trains of the Old West, and a little bit more of the opening sequence for that show, Ghost Trains of the Old West. But this time, are you ready for it?
Oh, boy.
With director's commentary.
Oh!
So I'm going to be blabbering over the whole thing. So instead of hearing the original soundtrack like you did last Tuesday, it'll be me attempting to explain what you're seeing.
Oh, some splaining to do.
Got some splaining to do. So some of the footage that I used in the opening title sequence, this is actually from Flash Gordon, but some of the footage that I used here, I got from the Parks Department. They shot to use in their promotional film for the Golden Spike National Historic Site. And I asked if I could use it, and they said sure, and they gave me something like 600-700 feet of footage that they had shot on 16mm film. This is actually video that I shot up there to use in the title sequence. But as long as I paid the lab fees, they were willing to let me get this footage, so they gave me about 700 feet of 16mm film, and mixed in with that was this footage here. And it's clearly not something they shot. That is Virginian Truckee engine, the Bowker. And I'm going, what the heck? And it's actually outtakes from Cecil B. DeMille's 1939 film, Union Pacific. But looking at it, it's full takes all the way from slate to end of shot. And it's outtakes from the movie. It's not film that was actually used in that motion picture. The title here for Billy Bob Jardine, that's a name that I've used occasionally just as a joke in motion pictures. Anyway, this footage that you see here was shot at the little western village that they used to have on the Heber Creeper. And most of the western village still survives. It's about a quarter of a mile from the current railroad. But friends and I went up there and shot this whole sequence here to use in the title sequence, and going into the saloon here and whatnot. And Stuart Falconer was the narrator, and there's a much younger picture of myself. Anyway, Ghost Trains of the Old West turned out to be Volume 1, because I did another one. It was a piece done for PBS in 1989, I believe, 1990, right in there anyway. And in the beginning part, there's footage from all of the various railroads that are going to be featured here in the video. This is Durango and Silverton. And then here we are back at Promontory, Utah for the Golden Spike. And here's number 71, Colorado and Southern 71. And then here's the Heber Creeper again, which was, as I say, featured in that film, Ghost Trains of the Old West, Volume 1.
Railroads formed the back.
Here we are at the Nevada Northern in Ely, Nevada. This is Cumbers and Toltec climbing Cumbres Pass. This is Durango Silverton at the Durango Yards and the Colorado Railroad Museum.
It was here, in the vast, untamed American West, that the steam locomotive had its greatest effect.
Back to the Cumbers and Toltec. This was a freight train put together by Jim Tolbridge, who used to put together these freight train excursions. Those were a tremendous amount of fun. Union Pacific 844 on one of its many excursions.
A thundering monster, a fire-breathing behemoth. with the
And
enormous
back to
power
the Heber
whose once
Creeper.
surprised
This was
Heber
another
day
freight
and
train excursion. I'm not sure who put it together, but another one of these fun little excursion trains put together by someone pulling a freight train. And then a sequence here of out-of-service locomotives. This is Heber, and they had a lot of different engines up there not being used. And then this is Durango Silverton's Rio Grande 223 when it was on display at the Rio Grande Depot, and back to Heber. This was their Shea locomotive. And then Union Pacific 833 when it was on display in Pioneer Park in Salt Lake City, and then it was subsequently moved to Ogden, Utah, where it's still on display.
Under their own power and even pulling trains over beautiful scenic railroads.
And now the sequence on Heber. This is what we looked at last Tuesday. This is the entire sequence on Heber. It actually starts off in Mill Creek Canyon in Salt Lake City. I needed some footage to introduce it, so I shot some footage there in the canyon. And this is, believe it or not, what Mill Creek Canyon looked like in 1989.
Down Echo and Weber Canyons.
It's all mega mansions now, but back then it was rather rural. And now back to Heber. This is their old shops, the shops that were there at the Western Village, and they're bringing out 618. On this day they were going to run a double header with 618 and 1744, and boy did I want to see that. So I was up there with my video camera getting some footage of this beautiful doubleheader with 1744 and 618. They went all the way down into the canyon to a siding there in the canyon where they could do runaround.
To the joy of rail fans, the Heber Creeper has opted to keep the engines in their original paint schemes. The appearance of the two engines is very similar to the way they looked when they were in service on the Union Pacific and the Southern Pacific.
They had Rainbird sprinklers mounted on 618 for fire prevention, and I'll be darned if that didn't work. It was a little disconcerting setting up alongside the camera, or alongside the track with your camera, knowing full well you were going to get drenched by these sprinklers, but that was okay. And it did seem to work rather well at preventing fires. And then back to that freight excursion that I showed earlier. I turned some of this footage into black and white to make it appear to be old footage on the line before it became the tourist railroad. Just beautiful seeing this freight train behind a steam locomotive running through the Heber Valley.
The major cities along the main line. The way freights, or peddlers as they were also known, performed the unromantic but very necessary task of pulling short freight trains at slow speeds while picking up and setting out cars along the way.
And then back to just a daily summer service on the railroad back when it was pulled by 618 every single day. It was a beautiful thing to just go up there and see this.
Grades and winding track, trains have always had to wind their way up the canyon at very slow speeds. Early passengers on the line who noted the rather slow progress unofficially dubbed the line and the trains which ran on it as the Heber Creeper. Union Pacific number 618 was given to the state of Utah by the Union Pacific in 1955 and put on display in the state fairgrounds. After 15 years on open display, in 1970, the engine was taken up Provo Canyon to Heber to start a new life as the principal locomotive on the Heber Creeper. Over the years, many engines have come and gone on the line, but number 618 has always been king on this beautiful scenic railroad. Above Provo Canyon, the Heber Creeper clings to the western bank of Deer Creek Reservoir and then crosses the broad alpine Heber Valley. The railroad operates year-round and is one of the few places that steam engines can be seen throwing towering clouds of white steam into a cold and snowy winter sky.
Well, how's that for clomping down memory
Oh,
lane?
that brings back memories for me too, and doing the summer field trips with the kids' summer migrant program.
And for me, lugging around that huge video camera and the recording deck was separate from the camera, and the
yeah.
microphone was separate from that.
Wow.
It's gotten so much simpler.
No kidding.
Gee, who knew? Anyway, this has been fun, and I hope everybody has found it somewhat informative.
Right.
And just a good memory of back when this was the Heber Creeper back in the 1980s and into the 1990s. Like I say, this show came out in about 1990, so most of this stuff was shot between 1986 and 1990, something like that. Well, anyway, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe, because certainly you'd want to follow along with this craziness.
Oh yeah, we might even get crazier.
And the very easy way to become a subscriber and follow the channel is by clicking on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Sunday.
Right.
We'll see ya.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.